All right. We are now live. Uh, wow. Honestly, guys, it's been one crazy past few weeks. I guess, babe, maybe probably more like 3 weeks. All right.
Yeah, more like 3.
Live. Uh, wow. Honestly, guys, it's been one crazy change some things here. Yeah. So, first off, I just want to say a couple of things real quick. Our hearts and our prayers go out to each and every one of you guys out there, especially our frontline folks, all our medical folks out there doing their thing and trying to keep us safe. This whole COVID thing has been really crazy, right? I mean, so a lot of us mid-age young folks thinks that maybe this won't hurt us, maybe this won't impact us. The fact of the matter is whether it will or it won't, it will impact others, right? So in the end, our parents, our grandparents, and even our babies and our kids can be dramatically impacted by the COVID-19. So I ask that each and every one of you, if at all possible, please definitely maintain your distance, stay away from everybody, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're doing is we're practicing this whole social distancing thing, which is actually a really funny topic, babe. I mean, because we talk about this social distancing, and everybody's supposed to maintain up to 6 feet in groups of less than 10 people, right? And I think in some places we're actually seeing that happen. In some places we're actually not, and grocery stores might actually be one of them. I mean, right now you gotta have to eat, and so because you have to eat, there's a lot of people in those stores. And babe, maybe you can give us a little bit of details because you actually go out and you actually do some of these things. But so for y'all that don't know, right here on Bubba's Garage, Bobbie actually does most of our shopping, just because I don't like the grocery store. And as a Bubba, if I'm going to go to the grocery store, I'm going to buy everything in sight because I don't want to ever have to go back. And that evidently is not something you should be doing right now. You should not be doing buying everything. And matter of fact, I believe they have limitations. So, babe, give us a little bit of rundown of your experience and how things are actually going when you go to the grocery store.
Well, I don't know what's going on with your area as far as grocery shopping and stuff like that. Our area started out really slow. Started out with all of a sudden toilet paper was gone. One day it was there, one day it was gone. And it slowly started to migrate into more of the pastas and the canned goods. Things have slowly kind of leveled out a little bit, but you can't always find everything that you need. The shelves are empty in one spot one day, and then they're empty in another spot another day. Social distancing is definitely a problem. It's gotten a little better over time, but even today, going to the grocery store, the social distancing part of things is still something people aren't truly aware of or practicing fairly well. You'll have the people who will turn around in an aisle rather than try and squeeze down the aisle. That's good social distancing. I try and do that as much as I can. But yeah, the social distancing is a big thing. In fact, our local grocery store here, they actually have over the intercom repeated like every 10 minutes, reminding people of social distancing. If an aisle looks like it's too crowded, try and come back to it later. So definitely keep that in mind. Keep in mind that everything that you touch in the grocery store could be exposed, could be contaminated. So I always try and limit. If I'm not buying it, I'm not going to touch it, stuff like that. It's really hard in grocery stores to maintain that social distancing, as well as thinking about how and what you could be exposing yourself with. There also in our local grocery stores, they actually have workers out front who are cleaning the carts with sanitizing wipes before you can even touch them. And they have hand sanitizer and sanitizing wipes that you can use on your hands A couple stores actually make you use hand sanitizer before you go into the store. So the stores are really being proactive. They're doing a phenomenal job, but now it's on us to kind of keep tabs on, are you doing the right thing?
You know, so a couple of things, you know, real fast is, you know, Danielle added a comment here. It looks like she just came from Kroger's and they're out of a lot of stuff. And that's a valid point because they are limiting you here in the state of Texas, at least. They're limiting you on, you know, quantities of certain things. So canned goods, and babe, correct me if I'm wrong, but in canned goods, you're limited to four cans, you know, 4 cans of beans, 4 cans of veggies, you know, things like that. And there for a little while, they were they were limiting you on your chicken. And you guys know us right here on Bubba's Garage. What we actually do is we cook up our meats once every 2 weeks so that we can have those meals prepped throughout the week. And man, limiting me on chicken is a whole nother ball game. I mean, like literally, that just changes everything. So like Bobbie just got back from a store run, and this is the honest truth. And you guys, I've posted this on social media, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And well, they really do not have any toilet paper. I was not kidding when I said that I had a roll in my Jeep. I carry a roll of toilet paper in my Jeep in our Molly packs, you know, in case there's emergencies, right? Sometimes you just got to go, right? And the thing is so Bobbie was just out. First time in 3 weeks, y'all. And I'm not kidding. 3 weeks. She was able to pick up toilet paper. And there was only 2 left on the shelf. She picked that up. And then right after that, they were completely gone. Yeah, things are definitely different. You know, babe, I want you to hint on something. You know, Papa Texas mentioned this whole being preppers idea and this preppers concept, man. And I tell you what, I totally respect that, right? Right now in today's time, you can't prep today. You have to have prepped yesterday. You will have to have prepped the day before. And I think Papa Texas nailed it because, you know, doing that prepping in advance is what that's all about, right? I mean, right now you can't prep because of those limitations. But babe, tell us a little bit about the limitations that they're actually giving you. I could be wrong, but I thought it was like 4 cans of certain types of things, right?
They have limitations on just about anything that's storable, meaning canned goods, frozen goods, dried pastas, stuff like that. You can only get 6 canned vegetables. You can only get 4 pastas or rices, rices. You can only get 2 pastas. They even have limitations now on toilet paper, and they're still selling out. I asked one of the stores, you know, when do y'all have toilet paper? And he literally told me, be here when we open in the mornings, which is 8:00. And they sell out that fast, even though there's limitations on it. The meat was limited for a while, but I didn't see that at all today. But it's mostly the storable items is what they're putting limitations on.
Yeah. So, I mean, prepping today is definitely not going to happen is what we're saying, you know, and I think Danielle commented, you know, I don't even know how to prep. And honestly, Danielle, it's really nothing more than buying everything in advance, right? So you stockpile things that are going to last you a while. Good examples of that are things like, you know, your canned goods, peanut butter. Maybe Papa Texas can give us some really good ideas of good products that you can actually stow away that will last a really long time. And that's kind of the thing. And the funny thing is I'm very conservative. I don't like to spend money that I don't need to spend. And I think that's the biggest thing. We only buy what we need when we need it. And I think in times like this, that's kind of proven to be a terrible idea, really. I mean, because we eat a lot of veggies, and fresh veggies have to come constantly, right? And, you know, we're trying now to limit our grocery runs, right? So now we're not going every day or every other day. I have challenged Bobbie to try to limit the total number of times that she actually goes to the shop or to the store and things like that to once a month. And I'm not sure how well that's going because the whole veggie thing is still coming up. It's something that it's just really hard to get away from. Corey gave us an idea on that. He said that, we could look at doing frozen veggies. So we're buying the frozen ones now. And they're a little different. They're not what we're used to, but I mean, again, right here on Bubba's Garage, we cook everything out on the griddle. 99% of the time it's fresh, except for that chicken, just because I like the smoky meat flavor. It kind of goes really well with a lot of different things. So it's definitely different times, We're doing our best to stay safe. My entire team is working remote. Bobbie's entire team is working remote. We're kind of cycling things as much as we can without any hands-on. It's definitely interesting, to say the less. It says, let's see. It's easy. Papa Texas or Drill Bit says it's easy to start. Just watch some YouTube channels. Hey, that's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I do right here on Bubba's Garage. I mean, everything that we do right here on Bubba's Garage, we do a ton of research. This is our first live stream right here on Bubba's Garage outside of our wedding, which was a really long time ago. And we did that on Facebook. But this is our first live stream. So I had to do a lot of research on setting this stuff up. And the thing is, I wanted to come out and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this because, we do our videos and we produce our videos and we produce our content. And the fact of the matter is we don't show you that part of our life. I mean, I have a backlog of videos that I need to get that I just have not gotten. And we've been focused on this rig. It's been a big, huge project. So coming to you live, I figure, why not? Let's do this. Let's talk about this for real. Give you guys an opportunity to kind of share some of your experiences because we've heard some different stories, about how things are going in different places. I was on a live stream with Dana out there in Bangkok in China, and it's really interesting to learn that some of the things that they're experiencing there is nothing like the things that we're experiencing here. Totally different. I expected, let's just say they don't have toilet paper problems. They got plenty of toilet paper. So it was just totally different, Danielle says they're waiting in line outside the stores. Babe, tell us a little bit about this. I've heard about this. I've read this on the news. Tell us a little bit about how the lines are going. How is all that working out in the stores? To me, it doesn't make sense to have lines, but maybe it does.
I've gotten fairly lucky to this point. I've seen the lines that have come out of the store, so I must have timed it just right. But today I ran out of luck. I went to one of our local grocery stores and there was a line. And, we talked about the whole social distancing thing. And the scary thing is the line wasn't following the social distancing. Nobody was standing 6 feet apart. So rather than go and stand in that line, I left and went to another store. You got to think, you got to be careful, right? As far as lines inside of the store, one of our local grocery stores has actually put up or put on the floor stickers at the checkout lines that are 6 feet apart. Stand here and you're practicing social distancing. This is the same store that has the message come over the intercom every 10 minutes. They're really focusing on that. So the lines inside of the stores aren't too terribly bad, but that line outside of the store could use a little help.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. So, I guess in a roundabout way, people are trying to practice social distancing, and let's talk about that a little bit, babe. And you have a medical background, from the military, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to get into a lot of details on this, but the thing is you can be asymptomatic, right? So
yes, you very much can be asymptomatic and still have the virus.
Yeah, so some people could have the virus walking around doing their thing, and when you talk about being 6 feet apart, that's kind of a big deal, right? I mean, the fact of the matter is if you're asymptomatic and you don't know it, you don't have any problem. Asymptomatic basically means you have the virus, but you don't know you have the virus. You don't have any symptoms at all, and you give it to the kid next to you. That then goes to his grandmother's house because he's dropping off some groceries, right? So look, guys, let me tell you, and Bobbie, I want you to go into a little bit more details about this, but the bottom line is you can have the virus and not know it. So let's think about it, the people around you, right? You don't know what they're experiencing in their life. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know the semantics of their life, right? So the guy in front of you that's buying groceries for his grandma or groceries for his mom or his brother, it doesn't matter. Point is you're asymptomatic. He goes there. He's now exposed them, right? Or she has now exposed them. For this whole COVID thing and this whole social distancing to work out, you kind of have to step back a little bit, right? Maintain your space, stay home, do what you got to do, step back. And if you got to get out, play it safe, right? I mean, because you don't know what someone else is going through. You don't know what they're going to have to deal with or who they could be giving it to, right? So, babe, tell us a little bit about that and how that works.
Well, the main thing that they're trying to accomplish with social distancing is they've realized that it can be passed through droplets. You sneeze, it can linger in the air for a little bit. That's why they're recommending the face masks whenever you go somewhere. Is if somebody sneezed right in front of you and you walk through it, you could be exposed if they have the virus. Another thing is touching a lot of things. I said earlier that if I don't buy it, I don't touch it. And that's mostly not just for limiting my exposure of touching things, but also the more you touch things, the more chances you are of exposing yourself, because the person before you could have had the virus and not know it, touched that box of pasta, looked at it, and then put it back, and then you go and touch it. So it's just kind of keeping that mind frame of the best way I've been known to put it is imagine everything you touch has mud on it. And when you touch it, you get the mud on your hands. When you get mud on your hands, you want to wash your hands, right? You're not going to touch your face or a bunch of other stuff. Hand sanitizer is your best friend at this point. Use hand sanitizer, but to an extent, keep in mind, after 3 times of using hand sanitizer, you should wash your hands because it starts to become less effective after 3 times of use. So I always count how many times I use hand sanitizers, how many times I use antiseptic wipes. Just keeping in mind, not just am I 6 foot away from this person next to me, but limiting other people's exposure that comes after you. If you sneeze into your arm, don't sneeze into the air, that kind of thing.
So, Danielle mentioned a comment right here real quick. It says, there are people out there that don't listen. And then there are people that won't even look you in the eye. It's an eerie feeling, when this all started, and we're on, here in Texas, we're on like week 3. Actually, we just completed, this is Friday. So this is week 3 of our lockdown, if you will. We've been remote for about 3 weeks now. The first week, things weren't completely shut down, but I had a doctor's appointment that I had to go into. And man, it was crazy. It felt really awkward because when you go into the doctor's office, they got all these little rooms, right, that you go into for your consults or whatever. All of those rooms, the lights were off. And keep in mind, this was first week. All those rooms, the lights were off. I kind of felt like I was like, I ordered a heart or something from, the black market or something, because it was like everything was like, there was nobody there. There was a lady at the receptionist. Then there was somebody that walked me back to the doctor. And literally that was it. And, typically you go to the doctor, when you go to the doctor all the time, there's things laying out on the counters and all this kind of, no. There was one pen. It just felt eerie, as Danielle had mentioned. It was different, right? It was different. So babe, I have a question for you then. And that is, when you go to the grocery stores, what do the shelves look like? I mean, honestly, you haven't taken any pictures, and you probably should, because we need to post some of those on social platform, because everybody's doing it, right? But like, what are the shelves like? I mean, is it really completely empty? And Danielle, you've obviously been, so leave some comments, let us know. What is it like when you go in the stores? Papa Texas mentioned here just moments ago that they have arrows and things like that that kind of direct you, right? So what are the shelves like when you go? I mean, is it empty?
Well, it's different every time that I go. Like I said before, one day pastas will be gone, but then the next day pastas will be there, and then canned goods will be gone. But the most consistent that I've seen is any kind of paper products, toilet paper, napkins, paper towels. Pastas have actually disappeared a lot more. And when I say disappeared, the shelves are empty. I mean, empty. The first time I turned down that toilet paper aisle and saw there was nothing on the shelves, I didn't know what was going on. It almost was like, okay, what happened? Because you're not used to seeing that. You're used to being able to go grocery shopping and buy what you need, and everything is there and readily available for you. And, Papa Texas was saying that, he's a hoarder. He was prepared for this long before it even happened. And, I have to give props to you for that, because I'm one that I only buy what I need to get me through a week or two. And that kind of caught me off guard when all of a sudden what I'm used to was no longer there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's empty, but not that empty is basically what you're saying then, right?
It's not like the whole store is empty. They still have products on the shelves. They have breads, those cycle through what types of breads, stuff like that. They still have peanut butter and jelly and, all the other basic supplies, but it's kind of funny how the parts that are empty, why are those such a big deal? And it's stuff like ketchup
or toilet paper
or stuff like that, I would think people would be more towards the supply stuff, like, getting canned beans or, tuna fish, or it's kind of weird to try and figure out why all of a sudden this one item is completely empty. It's just, it's weird.
So toilet paper is one of those. And I know a lot of stuff on social media, everybody joked about toilet paper. And honestly, I still don't understand the toilet paper. I mean, for real, you can get some leaves. I mean, you can live without the toilet paper.
I have tried to figure out the toilet paper since the beginning of all this, and it's given me nothing but a migraine. So I've kind of given up on trying to figure out the whole toilet paper thing. So
Papa says he's thinking about getting a shirt that says, stay 6 feet back. Papa, that's a phenomenal idea, honestly, because if everybody wore that shirt, they might actually stay 6 feet back. Other than that, they're not listening to the news. And honestly, I'm kind of worried, and we're going to get onto a topic here in a moment. But one of the things that I'm worried about is everybody is, for those that are actually staying home and staying safe at some point, when do you get tired of it, right? When do you get tired of being stuck in that you just got to get out? And I'm afraid, that maybe at some point when folks do that, they're all going to start venturing out, and we're going to see an increase in these numbers or whatever it may be. I mean, the current numbers show in the United States 486,000. We're fixing to hit 487,000 confirmed, and 18,000 deaths here in the United States. And I kind of get what President Trump is doing. It's maintain this as long as absolutely possible, to prevent from getting that spike, right? So it's really interesting, and with that, hold on a minute. Let's see what Ron says.
Yeah, I wanted to pull that up too.
Yeah. This is right. 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be able to say the same thing. We got through COVID, and that impact is on each and every single one of us. And honestly, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The thing is, Bobbie and I are truly blessed. We have businesses that allow us to do remote operations. So we're very thankful in that. But, there are folks out there that can't do that. Right. There are folks out there that are having to juggle. Think about it. Kids are working remote. Shelby is doing schoolwork remote today. Right. And we're able to be home and do what we got to do and keep sustaining life. But there are parents out there that don't have that opportunity. Right. There are parents out there that are essential personnel that do have to get out there. I can imagine the struggles. Right. We are truly blessed, and we're truly thankful, and our hearts and our prayers go out to those that are struggling. And like I said earlier, before when we started this live stream, all the medical personnel that are out there busting their chops, man, they are slammed right now. They are dramatically slammed right now. When I want to kind of move over into another topic a little bit.
Well, to add to the medical personnel thing real quick, yeah, they're slammed. They're working really hard to try and keep people healthy and get people to recover from this virus. But, think about how you feel every time you leave the house. You have that edge of, ooh, I'm exposing myself. I got to watch what I do. Imagine what these medical workers are going through every time they go into work. Every time they leave work and go home to their spouses and their children, and their worry about their exposure and spreading it to their loved ones. So keep that in mind, and send some prayers out to those people, because their jobs right now are very, very scary.
Yeah, I see the comment right there from Danielle. Mostly having a child, it's very scary, right? You have to go out. You got to expose yourself, depending on the work that you have. But each step that you take, you're exposing yourself, right? And you're bringing that home. So I can imagine it would be very, very scary. Papa Texas mentions here, that you go to work every day, and you have your employees stay at home with full pay, and that's phenomenal.
That's
Papa.
awesome.
And Papa Texas is in Texas, guys. We're talking about Texas. We're from Texas too. But as a matter of fact, Papa Texas, we follow him on YouTube. He's got a really good channel. He's up there north, close to Dallas. But Texas is definitely doing a lot of advanced planning. The funny thing is governor, not really funny, but I respect it. The governor went online today and was actually talking about his prep plans for the future. And they're working next week to figure out what does it take to get businesses to go back. Now that may take 1 to 5 weeks or 15 weeks for that matter. We don't know. But the fact of the matter is they're preparing for it. So that's really good. That's really good. I wanted to talk something about economy. I don't know if you guys, this COVID thing has had a major impact on the economy, right? All the businesses out there, but not just the businesses, but the stock market, right? Babe, you want to tell them a little bit about how you feel about every time I tell you what our stock portfolio is doing? You want to tell them about that?
No comment. It's definitely up and down. It really is. It's scary one minute and then you're hopeful the next. And with everything changing on a daily basis, it's a gamble, right? And one day it's going really good and the next day it drops back off, and your stock just went down again. And it's scary, especially for people who have a lot of money into the stock market, and people who are relying on that money for different things, retirement That could be people's retirement right there. That could be people's college fund for their kids. It's really scary. And whenever you look at it and you see those numbers drop, it's heart sinking. Yeah, very much so. It's heart sinking, but you just got to be hopeful that, as time goes on, just as that number of exposures and confirmed cases goes down, the economy starts to decrease.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come back eventually. It will. The question is when, and it will. And if you're in retirement stage right now, relying on the stock market, it's probably really bad and very painful. So my hearts are definitely with you on that. We've lost a lot of money on the stock market, but we're not at retirement stage. So we have time to drill that out a little bit. Drillbit says that we own our own business. We have a lot of people going to the beach fishing down here. That's very interesting to hear. I mean, so are they maintaining that 6 feet and under 10? Because that's kind of the thing I was worried about. I mean, honestly, I'd like to get out. State parks closed down. Things like that. How is that working with everybody going? I mean, I guess they're just dispersed, or do they just not follow the rules, right? So that's a good question. Papa says, let's see, I lost a lot in the market, but changing things around because the market is going to scream. Yeah,
that's definitely the hope. That's what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, so you nailed it, Papa. I mean, that's exactly what we're doing. We're still investing into the stock market. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's very scary. But back in 2001, we had a major stock market issue. We invested heavily during that time, and it honestly, because of those stocks during that time, we're able to survive these times because of those stocks. So. It's low. If you can afford it, it's a great time to invest. But at the same time, you got to be very, very careful. As you guys all know, everything is changing so much right now. So you got to be really careful. Put some money back. Definitely save first. And more importantly, if you're not debt free, try to focus on that first before investing in the stock market. That's what we practice around here. Is if you can get out of debt, stay debt free first. Then put your money into the stock market, mutual funds and things like that. That's just my recommendation. So take it for what it's worth. Papa says, again, I already had more money in the stock market. Yep. Same thing here. So Ron says retirees' life and future is their 401k.
And that's 100% right. That's 100% right.
It's spot on. And that right now is scary, right? There's a lot of money lost in the stock market. Of course, I've seen things like Zoom skyrocket. Of course, they're going to plummet again just because of all of the security things that have come out. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on, but honestly, the tech industry seems to be doing really, really well. So yeah, I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it. And okay. All right. So you kind of know what we're talking about, right? They're saying 6 foot. Let's see. So they're going fishing separated. You need a room to cast the line out. I love it. Yeah, you need a really big line. Honestly, guys, I don't really fish. I don't like to fish. I'm very impatient. My granny, when I'd go fishing with my grandma, I couldn't do it. So back in the old days, I had a yo-yo. You guys might know what I'm talking about. If you do, ping me. Basically, you reel it out on this yo-yo. You put your bait on it and you sling it, throw it in the pond or out in the lake or whatever, and you put a stake on it. And when that fish would come up there and he'd bite it, it would suck them up and drill them all the way back to the bank. I was in hog heaven. And believe it or not, I actually caught some stuff with those because I could just leave them and walk away for a little bit. But I think they're I don't think you can have them anymore. I think they're just, I do still have 2 that she gave me from that, but yeah, you can't do that anymore. You're absolutely welcome. I can't pronounce that, babe. How do you pronounce this? Vulser? Did I say that correct? You're absolutely welcome. Hopefully some of the videos that we produce are beneficial. I mean, guys, you know, we do the best we can with what we have. And that's what we pride ourselves on right here on Bubba's Garage. We are just normal, everyday people. We enjoy doing what we do. And some things don't turn out and some things do. We're working on this galley build that we're building for our V series, our camper rig that we have set up. And we hit a couple of obstacles, but honestly, you know, here, hopefully this weekend, if not next weekend, I'm going to get finish up that galley and get you a walk around on it. We hit a lot of obstacles on it, but I'm really happy with the way it's turning out. So definitely stay tuned for sure. Gotta watch some stocks that go. Yeah, they will, Papa. They will. They're going to skyrocket. It's a matter of time. Like once we get over this curb, they're going to start shooting up really high. And that's, yeah. And then you got to be careful because they'll get so high that they're not sustainable. Truly, the company's not really worth it. So you got to watch that peak and either pull out or just set on it. But you're going to see a major spike, and then it's going to drop down a little bit. So Ron's is in Massachusetts. Who do we know in Massachusetts, babe? We know somebody up there.
Massachusetts proper?
Mr. P, Massachusetts prepper, really good man up there. I haven't really heard anything, Ron, from him on how things are going up there in Massachusetts. Can you give us a little bit of idea of how things are going up there for you guys? I mean, I think the last checkup that I had with Massachusetts prepper, it was end of March and snowing, and that was just something I can't do. I'm not a snow winter kind of fan at all. I love it when it's nice and warm. And right now we have some warm temperatures. When I say warm, it's probably 70 degrees here. So, yeah. I mean, that's kind of anything else on the economy, babe. Do you have anything you want to add on the economy? What are your expectations? Where do you think it's going to go? And something else to think about is what about these businesses that are having to lay off, right? I mean, there's some major changes happening out there.
There's a lot of people getting laid off right now because they can't work. The companies can't stay open. They're being forced to close. And, you know, excuse me, that makes it that much harder for those people to cope with what's going on around them. So definitely keep those people in your thoughts and prayers, that they can have the support system. You know, there's the relief fund coming out to those people to help pay for their bills. I know down here in our area, there's a lot of companies that are pitching in to try and help people get through this. Utilities company is helping out, and the cell phone companies are helping out to help support people get through this, and supporting your local businesses too. I mean, help those people stay in a job, restaurants, you know, stuff like that. Help those people, you know, give them your support, whether it's you eat out at their restaurant or whatever the case may be. You know, show support to your local economy. Definitely.
Right. Yeah, that's very important. The small businesses, you know, and I don't want to harp on the big businesses. You know, there are some major businesses out there that are highly impacted. You know, all the entire automotive industry is greatly impacted by this. But, you know, they also have the ability to adapt, and they should have required cash flow to recover to some degree, right? Probably not as much as some of them. You know, people like Apple and Google and Amazon, they have the capital to float this for as long as they have to, or well, to a long degree. The small businesses,
to an extent.
Yeah. You know, the small businesses, I mean, typically, you know, we're small businesses. We own several small businesses. And, you know, the fact of the matter is in most small businesses, you only maintain enough revenue, you know, money to actually keep the business running. you're not getting rich, if you will, right? So you pay your employees, and that's exactly what we do. And that's, so when you have a facilities and you have things set up and you're paying for those employees and it's a revolving thing, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 weeks of this is pretty dramatic, right? I mean, now your gross revenue is dramatically decreased, and you still got to find a way to pay the bills, and you still got to find a way to pay those employees. As a business owner, that's scary, because I got news for you. I'd sell everything that I own personally to make sure that my employees continue to get paid. So yeah, definitely support your small businesses out there. Send them some Bubba love. If you're going to eat out, go to the small business, order from the small businesses, pick up from them and go home, or have it delivered. Definitely believe in supporting the small businesses. Papa, yeah, that's a great question, right? I mean, that's kind of a risk that depending on your line of business, that's a risk that you're taking. And man, that you're right. I mean, if they don't pay those invoices, it's going to put your business in a predicament, right? And that's going to be really hard. And I know you got a heart, and you're going to take care of your employees first and foremost. I'm positive of that. But that's a scary thing, right? Let's see. Some businesses will close, and people, right? Mortgages not being paid might make it. Yeah. I don't think we're there yet to see. I mean, some of them are closing. I've already heard word that some of them are closing, but I think, as this continues to progress and everybody's operating differently, let's talk about that, operating differently. A lot of the places that we see around here, there's those small businesses, they're producing food and asking drive-through only, come pick up, come do these things. And some of them, and I've seen this on the news, so you guys probably already know about this. But sorry, I got to laugh real quick. Papa Texas just posted a comment, and he said, "Sell Bobbie's Jeep." So I'm like, yes. We're gonna sell Bobbie's Jeep to. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if we got to sell the Jeeps, we got to sell the Jeeps, because honestly, we ain't driving them anyway. So we got to do what we got to do. TJ's in the garage. That one we ain't getting rid of. But I think back to this comment, I think you could see that, right? I mean, the longer this goes on, you can only sustain this as a small business for so long. And so long is really a matter of how much you have in capital, how much you have to float that boat. A lot of companies, typically about 3 months. Most companies can only sustain it for about 3 months. So what you see the smaller businesses doing is bringing in as much revenue as they can, bringing in as much as they can now, in hopes that 3 months turns into 6, or that 6 months turns into 8, because that will allow them to survive this situation, right? Yeah, it's tough. So yes, please support your small businesses out there if you're able to do so.
And see, at least in our area, I'm not sure about everywhere, but there are some businesses in our area that are getting creative to try and stay afloat. There's a lot of restaurants who, now that they've gotten the approval from the governor to actually sell groceries in their restaurant, things like toilet paper and meat and vegetables. There's one restaurant that's selling what they're calling bonds, if you will, where it's a gift certificate that you're paying. If you want a $10 gift certificate, you pay 25% off for that $10 gift certificate, and you can use it later for the full $10, so that they can actually still bring in the revenue to be able to keep their employees paid and employed. And outside of paying their employees, these employees have health insurance through work, things that can impact their health care as well as putting food on the table. So supporting those local businesses and getting creative with supporting those local businesses is huge for those workers. Yeah, absolutely. And those are folks that you can't that can't work remote, right? Yeah, I guess you can start a kitchen out of your house and sell food.
I know folks that do that. Actually, I think that's a really good idea. Maybe she'd call up some of those. I need some really good food. But yeah, so some people can't work remote, and a lot of people that we know can't. Corey can't work remote. He can't work remote at all. As a matter of fact, you guys don't know this. This is the first time you're hear this. Matter of fact, not many know this. He was actually quarantined for 14 days. His quarantine ended. That's Corey calling right there. So he was actually quarantined for 14 days. The quarantine was up on Tuesday. So he doesn't, he has to go out too, and he came into a situation where he was exposed. Luckily, nothing happened, but that's not the point, right? You never know what you're going to run into or where things, you got to be safe. There are folks out there that can't work remote. Papa Texas, you mentioned he can't either. I think Danielle, based on some of the comments that she posted on here, she can't either. So you're right. You got to be safe. And honestly, our hearts and our prayers are out with everybody that is out there, not just the medical folks, but all the folks that are out there actually doing what they got to do business and survive. They're doing the best that they can to be safe, and I think that's very important.
And one of the hard parts with this whole situation is it's a virus. You can't rush a virus. You can't say, okay, the virus is gone after 2 weeks. You can't recover from this in a given time frame. And I know a lot of people out there, including us, are very curious and very anxious to see how long or how short of a period this is, but there's really no way of telling how long this will last. It just depends on how long the virus takes to run its course. So that's even harder, especially for these small businesses, because they're keeping their fingers crossed that tomorrow maybe we can open. But it's hard because it is a virus. It's medical. It's not something that you can just put a time frame on.
Right. And guys, we're getting close to an hour, so we're going to wrap this up. But before I do that, I just wanted to ask you, leave some comments down below. We'll definitely come back and check these. But I really wanted to ask your opinion, what you thought about us doing a live stream. Like I said, it's been really many, many years since we've done a live stream. And the one that we did, or several that we actually did do, were all on Facebook all the way back to 2010. So definitely check some of those out if you're interested. But I want to know what you think about if we continue these live streams, maybe having a couple of guests on from time to time, and maybe having some topics. Maybe we talk about some of the projects that we worked on the Jeep, the Black Bear, the Winter Edition, the TJ, or even Project 4 Runway, because we do still have that project going on. We haven't started on the Project Drift Car. I'm not sure that we're going to do anything on that anytime soon. But we also have our V Series Venturas project that we're working on. We've been really aggressive on that project because, as you know, we have a huge trip planned around the United States. We might have to make some travel path adjustments depending on these new state laws and rules. We're not really sure right now. Things are really changing up quite a bit on that, but the project is still underway nonetheless. So definitely leave me some comments. Let me know what you think, if we should do those things. Give me some topic ideas. And, well, if you'd like to be a guest right here on Bubba's Garage, and, we can plug you in and join in the conversation on whatever those topics may be. Definitely let us know. Guys, we're going to wrap this up right here, right now. So, guys, if you like this episode, please definitely give us a huge like. Matter of fact, smash the like, because then that's how we're going to know whether or not we should still do this or not. Right. And if you want to stick around to find out what happens next right here on Bubba's Garage, do me a favor. Please subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you on the flip side. Good night, everybody.
Good night.